Senior Israeli officials have taken responsibility for allowing the unprecedented Hamas incursion. Among them, the defense minister, the head of the Shin Bet Security Services, and former chief of staff Benny Gantz, who wasn't even a member of the government on October 7th. But one voice has been conspicuously silent, that of Israel's longest-serving prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Netanyahu's record in terms of assuming responsibility since the events of October 7th has been a tragedy certainly for Israel, but first and foremost for himself. Leaders are tested in such moments, and his test was the basic test of assumption of responsibility.
At one point, Netanyahu went even further, tweeting that his security chiefs had assured him that Israel had deterred Hamas and no attack was imminent. The comments seemed to put the blame on Israel's security forces for not warning him. A few hours later, he deleted the tweet after public outcry and apologized in another tweet. A recent poll found that 80% of Israelis believe the prime minister should take responsibility for what happened. The poll by the Israeli newspaper Ma'ariv also found that only 28% support Netanyahu as prime minister, as compared to 48% for National Unity Party leader Benny Gantz.
This will sooner or later end his career and also punctuate it. In other words, he's been with us as a national leader for just over a quarter of a century. In other words, since he succeeded Yitzhak Shamir as Likud's leader. And he's done many things and has had his fair share of successes and failures. All of them will be overshadowed by what happened on October 7th, 2023.
But Netanyahu himself says he has no intention of resigning. He is the only Israeli prime minister who has managed to stay in office despite being on trial in several corruption cases.
The only thing that I intend to have resign is Hamas. We're going to resign them to the dustbin of history. That's my goal, that's my responsibility, and that's what I'm leading the country to do.
Many Netanyahu loyalists from his Likud party say he will weather this storm too.
When you're in the public service, it is, you know that you will also receive criticism. This is totally obvious in everyday life, in everyday time. So you can imagine after such a tremendous, enormous, unprecedented disaster. So criticism is totally understandable. And now there is a war to handle, and there is especially a war to win. And therefore, I think that the prime minister will be judged at the end of the war.
Israeli officials say winning the war in Gaza could take months. By then, public opinion against Netanyahu may have shifted. Linda Gradstein, VOA News, Jerusalem.